She then asks how Maddie comes up with her writing. Every possible result is like a multi-ending movie in her mind. A loud, blaring noise breaks their conversation. They rush back inside to discover smoke emanating from the oven and a very loud, warning fire alarm. Maddie tells Sarah that she needs the fire alarm because she needs to feel the vibrations in order to wake up, and she apologizes for her terrible alarm. Before Sarah says goodbye later that evening, she gives her a copy of the book. Frustrated, Maddie sits by herself in her living room, trying to finish her manuscript. She cleans up the mess in the kitchen in an attempt to divert her attention. Abruptly, Sarah, her friend, rushes to Maddie's kitchen door, yelling, being cries of desperation for assistance. The door is locked and she is attempting to open it. Maddie can't see her friend, she's cleaning the kitchen. Sarah's piercing screams come to an end as she is struck in the back by an arrow. After pursuing Sarah, a man wearing a white mask and ski hat stabs her in Maddie's kitchen door. He keeps stabbing her until her limp body falls to the ground. Intruder attempts to apprehend Maddie. I knock on Maddie's door, tense, but she doesn't answer. He figures out right away that she is most likely deaf because she keeps working. With an arrow in one hand, the intruder enters the house stealthily. Just as he is ready to stab her, his sister Alex interrupts him on video, grabbing her. When Alex asks how Maddie's book is going, she hides her phone. Maddie, though, claims she's stuck and needs a diversion. She convinces her to return to the city and take up residence with her. However, Maddie is unwilling to have their conversation cut off. When Alex queries whether anyone is following, she had seen something move, so find her. Many tell her that the cat is most likely to blame. Maddie gathers her kitties. Bowl starts to rattle. She walks the entire house shaking the bowl, but she can't find her cat. She ignores this, picking up the bowl from the open door, and returns to her writing. On her laptop, a notification appears displaying a message that was sent from Maddie's personal phone. Bewildered when she opens the message, she finds a set of photos that she took while on the phone with her sister. Maddie, terrified, approaches the ajar door and finds the masked intruder clutching her phone. Before he can enter, she quickly closes and locks the door. The intruder, carrying a crossbow, attempts to enter the house through each door, but Maddie locks them all. She saw him slashing her tires out of the window as the power went out. There's no way out at this point. With desperation, Maddie grabs a lipstick from her bag and slams the glass door. She promises not to tell anyone. She hopes the man will fall for her bluff. The intruder removes his mask to display his tattoos on his neck and face. When he inquires about Maddie's ability to read his lips, not after catching a glimpse of his face, he must murder her. Maddie dashes back to get a knife in her kitchen. She heads to her bedroom, shuts the windows and doors, and curls up in a corner, sobbing and shaking. She is startled when something begins to hammer on one of her windows. When she looks up, she sees the trespasser carrying Sarah's lifeless body and slamming her arm against the window. Startled, Maddie drops her knife and steps back. Manny, who is crying at the sight of her dead friend, realizes that Sarah must still be carrying her own phone. Once the intruder is occupied with gasping, she tries to divert his attention by setting off her car alarm. Maddie dashes to get the phone out of her friend's back pocket and opens the window. She is instantly caught in the act by the intruder. She closes the window on his fingers as he tries to grab her. She smacks his arms out with a hammer, forcing him to retreat and lock the window again as he screams in agony and tries to pry open the windows. Maddie doesn't waste any time in running from the intruder as he makes his way back around the house. Silently, she slips out the kitchen door and ducks beneath the patio's crawl space. She is on the verge of running away. Refusing to be a deer in headlights, the intruder stops her in her tracks when she fires the crossbow. She flees back to the house and, in her desperation to find a way out, manages to enter it safely while he heads upstairs to her loft. With trembling hands, she opens a window, lets herself out, and lands on the roof. Then Maddie hurls a flashlight into the forest that lies behind her home. The trespasser notices this and follows the light. She begins to make her way to the front of the house by crossing the roof. Fearfully, her legs trembling as she descended from the roof. She is taken aback when the intruder shoots an arrow at her leg. He attempts a second shot and just misses her head. Maddie, overcome with pain, picks herself up and greets her teeth. The intruder starts to scale the roof, but Maddie topples him, just in time to seize his crossbow and painfully throw him back to the ground. Should she bring her crossbow back inside the house in time to shut the upstairs window? John, Sarah's boyfriend, shows up at the front door looking for his girlfriend just as she is trying to load the crossbow. Stopping him in his tracks, the intruder poses as a police officer. He informed John that he had responded to a resident's 911 call and asked for identification. He then informs John that he needs to borrow John's phone in order to call for backup because an intruder knocked him down and stole his radio and gun. John becomes suspicious and asks him how Maddie, who is deaf and silent, managed to make the call. John advises the intruder that a spare key is most likely concealed beneath one of the patio plants. John approaches the intruder from behind and prepares to strike with a rock as he searches for the key. Maddie starts pounding on the glass after spotting John from the kitchen door. This diverts John's attention, creating a gap that allows the intruder to stab him in the neck, leaving him gasping for air as blood spurts out. John never surrenders without a fight. John traps the intruder in the ground as they fall into it. Chokehold while Maddie observes the altercation. She goes over the various ways that escape could turn out for her in this circumstance. She can't outrun him while her leg is hurt. If the crossbow is used by her, it needs to be an impeccable shot. He will catch her before she can regain control of the power if she tries to do so. If she hides, all he needs is a rock to smash open a window in the unlikely event that the intruder is not able to locate her. Either way, she will bleed to death. She is aware that she is running out of time and that she will not be able to return to the crawl space. Her heart bleeds in agony. The intruder pushes John away after escaping his chokehold. John runs out of blood and cannot be saved. Maddie seizes the chance to stab him in the shoulder with an arrow. The intruder screams in agony, his rage stoking his wish to murder her. He chases Maddie back inside the house, snaking her hand so she can't scream in agony as the kitchen door closes. With all of her remaining strength, Maddie can only sob as he stomps on her hand, shattering the bones in her fingers. As the intruder tries to smash through the glass door, she reaches back inside the house and retrieves her hand. With her free hand, Maddie uses her laptop to write down the intruder's description before locking herself in the bathroom. The intruder approaches her from behind, slipping through the broken window while she waits for him to storm in. Maddie turns to stab him in the knee as he is about to strike her, feeling his breath on her neck. He throws his broken neck at her, clearly in pain. With her leg bleeding and her hand broken, Maddie scrambles back to the kitchen in desperation and falls next to one of the cabinets as the intruder approaches. She gives him a bit of time by setting off her fire alarm and spraying him in the face. When the intruder eventually catches up with her, they get into a struggle. He chokes her and punches her in the face, but Maddie fights back, pressing his finger into his wound. He throws her to the ground and stifles her once more. And her heart slows down, and she sees her life flash before her eyes. With everything she has, she reaches for the wine opener. And with an impressive swing she stabs him in the neck one last time. He falls to the ground beside her, choking on his own blood and releasing his grasp for her neck. With a gasp for breath, Maddie fumbles for his pocket phone and quickly presses 911. This is her opportunity to get away. She takes one last glance at the lifeless intruder before moving cautiously over to the patio, where she sits down next to her cat while Maddie strokes the cute little animal. In the distance, police lights can be seen flashing. She shuts her eyes. She sighs, having triumphed and survived.